get on my phone, check the tracker on the truck, and it is just off. There's nothing there. So I think to myself, okay, this is a little bit of a problem. I don't know where the truck is. In the classic and exotic car business, I would say that one of the most challenging aspects of operating is transport. You depend on them. It is the lifeblood of your business. Without having a car be able to get to and from your dealership, to and from clients, you have nothing. So, really, really good client of mine who had always had great enthusiast cars, but was moving into investment grade hypercars. And this was his first step. Bought a Porsche 918 from me, and it was a lovely car. It wasn't an extreme spec. It was a GT Silver 918, and the car was it was a lovely example, and a lovely low mile example, and he could not have been more excited about it, gracious. It was a wonderful car and a wonderful situation. After the wire cleared and I called him up and said, sir, thank you so much for your purchase. Just wanted to let you know that everything is done, sealed, signed, delivered. Next steps are transport. And he just excitedly says to me, is there any way at all? And I want to say that he bought the car. He paid for the car on a Monday or Tuesday, and he wanted to see if it was possible to have the car there by the weekend. And it was across the country. And he wanted to have the car there by the weekend to be able to share with his family, enjoy for the weekend. And nothing really makes me happier than being able to make those kinds of things come true. A lot of people they've worked really hard, they've acquired their dream car. So to be able to just add that little bit extra in service just gives me a great deal of personal gratification. So I say, let me see what I can do. No promises, but let me see what I can do. I call a transport broker who I know, and I tell him, hey, I have a car that needs to get across the country. The sooner the better. I'm not even asking what it's gonna cost, just I need to get this there. Said, no, okay, let me, give me a half hour, let me work on this. Call him back a half hour later, gives me a number that was, probably $750, $800 higher than I would have expected for, than what it would have normally cost, which and was guaranteeing delivery before Friday, which means that it was being run across the country by a team, by a two-person driver team, so that way the truck doesn't need to stop. I thought, okay, great, awesome. I call the client back and say, hey, great news. I can get your car there in time. He is over the moon, beside himself. And I say, and furthermore, I'm going to do you one better. I am going to go out to personally deliver the car to you. And he was the kind of person who I wanted to, just really, really wanted to make happy. And just again, such a nice person. And he's just beside himself with excitement and say, we're gonna have a special dinner. We're gonna do all this stuff. This is gonna be great. Oh my gosh, I can't believe this. This is fantastic. So the car was at the detail shop, and normally I would have the car come back to me before it got shipped out, but under the circumstances, I said, you know what, just take it from the detail shop. Car gets picked up from the detail shop, seemingly without incident. I fly out, and the car, in theory, should have been delivered later that day. I land, and when I get down on the ground, I get a message from my office that the truck is broken down. And I say, okay. I explain to the client, he couldn't be nicer or cooler about it. No big deal. So we have a lovely dinner, everything is fine, he's happy, he's cool. And so when we were told that the next day that the truck would be ready for the delivery. The next day, get on my phone, check the tracker on the truck, and it is just off. There's nothing there. So I think to myself, okay, this is a little bit of a problem. I don't know where the truck is. And they're saying, oh yeah, the truck is still being repaired. it'll be there by the end of the day. Starting to get a little bit weirded out. My office manager is calling the transport company to try and get answers as to why the tracker's off, and they're not answering calls. They're not answering calls. It's becoming a little bit of a dude, where's my car situation. Eventually, we get the answer why the tracker was off. As it turns out, the two-man team sprinted across the country so fast that they wound up arriving more than a day early. So it saw an opportunity and said, okay, we'll just leave this car in a lot and go do another run, and we'll be able to come back in time to get this other car delivered. We got that part of the story after my office manager said, I want my car back. Like, get me my car. That's when the real story came out. The truck was never broken. Nothing had ever happened to the truck. They just abandoned the car. This was not an insignificant car. And I'm there and I have to keep my cool with this client. And the entire time I've been keeping him updated on what's been going on. That the truck is broken down, the car is going to arrive later, etc., etc., etc. Fortunately, my office manager managed to get a friend of hers to physically go to the car, make sure that everything was okay, which it was, thank God. And then her friend was able to actually go track down the trucker who had gone and delivered that other car about 70 miles away. She went and got the keys from him because he just left the car and took the keys. Went and got the keys, brought them back, and then we got another truck to pick the car up. But here's the problem. The car had been sitting outside for 2 days, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're in northern Arizona, things manage to get pretty dusty. So we had to have the car transported to a detail shop, re-detail it, get everything gone through, re-prepared, and I delivered the car on Sunday. So he still got his car on the weekend, but not without an additional $1,500 worth of expenses just to get everything straightened up and cleared out. I mean, the client couldn't have been nicer or more understanding about what had gone on and was ultimately super, super happy with the car. But to spend 48 hours not knowing where my car was and knowing that, that it could have just vanished was absolutely terrifying. Yeah, my dealer insurance would have covered it, but would they cover losses on the deal? I mean, I learned in that moment more about dealer and transport insurance than I ever had wanted to or anticipated. The bottom line is that transporting these cars is a fundamental part of the business, and it is one of the most sensitive parts of the business. And it's also a part of this business that so few people really think about. It's remarkable how frequently people will say, I'll give someone a quote from a known trusted resource, and they'll say, I have a guy who will do it for, a few $100s less. And what kind of boggles my mind is, you've just spent tens, hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars on your dream car, and you are willing to potentially lose or severely compromise your car for a few $100s. It's remarkable to me, but it happens all the time. It just really goes to show you that reputation with transporters is paramount, and double and triple checking all of their credentials is really important. And just because someone's a little bit cheaper that is really not the place to skimp. I mean, and it's just so instructive now looking at all of these stories that seem to pop up on Facebook and Instagram seemingly every other week of late model highline cars just vanishing from transporters. It really, really goes to show the the importance of having someone trusted to haul your vehicle. And furthermore, a lot of these thefts, unfortunately for some of the dealers who have had these cars stolen, there have been a number of stories that I've seen where their insurance does not cover it, which for many dealers to have a three, four, $500,000 car go missing and for your insurance to not cover that is cataclysmic. That's the end of your business for a lot of these guys. So it really goes to show you just how important it is to have someone who's known and trustworthy handling this precious cargo.
Successful car purchasing is all about knowing your buying power and being able to move quickly, and the best way to do that is getting pre-qualified with Premier Financial Services. Call one of these numbers, speak to one of their representatives, fill out their application, and then you'll know exactly how much car you can buy. You'll approach a seller, tell them you're already qualified, you've got your simple lease set up from Premier Financial, and you'll be able to close very, very quickly. That's why Premier is one of the most powerful partners in the world of exotic car financing, and that's why I turn to them every time I go out and try to buy something crazy.